What's up, guys? Peter Von Panda here, out in my garage with a snowblower that I just bought and got delivered to me. This one's a Snow Joe. It's a 24-inch lithium-ion cordless battery-powered snowblower, and it is winter outside. And what I wanted to show you is that I actually have a snowblower. This is an old Craftsman here, 22-inch clearing with gas-powered, been pretty nice. So it actually works. I snowblowed a little bit with it already. And one of the things that I wanted to point out here is that as the years go by for gas-powered snowblowers, they get a little bit messy. They can be a little finicky firing them up. This one is gas-powered. You know, you've got to do oil, gas. Has electric start, but most of the time you just pull it, things break. It's, you know, just things that happen with it. But the biggest problem I've noticed is that, one, you've got to do maintenance on it on a regular basis, and secondly, the gas and the fuel that you use tends to kind of be obnoxious. So, you know, when this thing sits here for the rest of the year, you can kind of smell the gas and oil. It's kind of leaks from the carburetor or what have you, and then even at the end of the season, you really need to either treat and stabilize your gas or remove it, you know, and it can kind of get gummy if you're not careful. And they're also kind of hard to store because they're big and heavy, but good snowblower. But the cool thing about what you can get now in snowblowers is that this one from Snow Joe is electric. It's kind of like my electric yard equipment, like my green machine, weed whacker, etc. But what was new this year, what just came out, is that this iON24, I think it's was that 24SB-XR, is an actual dual stage. I know this box is kind of beat up. It gets beat up when they deliver it, but this 80 volt 24-inch dual stage snowblower is remarkable in that it's the first one that I've known that is a true dual stage. And that means that a single stage is usually just a rubber impeller or a rubber auger, and that rubber auger not only picks up and chops up the snow, but it also flings it. So the auger is doing all pieces of the snowblowing job, and actually they aren't powered, and so you actually have to push the snowblower on the single stage. On the dual stage, the augers are usually steel, so they're a little stronger and tougher, but then the throwing is done by a second impeller, kind of like a little propeller, almost like on a boat. And so you have the job split up between two different types of equipment, and so you usually get a better job because now the auger only has to chop snow and the impeller can throw the snow. On top of that, dual stages are usually self-propelled, and so that they will move on their own, and so you're not always pushing the single stage. They kind of look like unpowered lawnmowers in that you're keep pushing in the snow to throw the snow. So a dual stage was something that finally decided for me to go ahead and pull the trigger and get an electric snowblower. Hopefully they're quieter, easier to maintain, maybe lighter, and then especially in the morning, if you live in a place that snows, usually you've got to snowblow before you want to, so you can get your cars out in the morning and go to work, and that means you're often snowblowing at like 6 a.m. So it's just kind of being a nice neighbor too, to have it as quiet as humanly possible. Now let's go ahead and open up this box and put this thing together. I'll show you that, and then we will go out and snowblow because I have a ton of snow outside. So here it is in all its glory. First of all, you've got the batteries and the charger in here. So your power kit, your two batteries. And then also the cool thing is this charger, you can actually get it without the charger. You already have, you know, Snow Joe or Sun Joe products. That'll save you a little money, but the charger here that I'm really excited about and that I knew about is that it has dual ports. So for the two batteries, you don't have to charge a battery for 8 hours and remember to go out and swap them. You can get both of them charging at the same time. So that's pretty cool. We will try that out. And then two batteries. So I went ahead and got the charger set up because I want to get these things charging right away. This is not a grounded outlet. I thought it was. So it just should work in pretty much any outlet here. And plug that in, and then you have two green LEDs, it looks like, to tell you that the sucker is turned on. Now, I went ahead and unpackaged the batteries, and they're nice and heavy and dense. There is a button here, a little lever. As you can see, it pulls up that tab. So that's, I think, how they're going to lock into your snowblower. And then you can see here that they have female connections on this side. So I think you just ride them into the charging unit there. So we do have some icons here, and as you can see, green and red, so we've got the batteries in. Looks like when the green light is just on, that single light, it means it's connected to power, it is on. Green and red, like we have here, means it is charging, as the arrow suggests. 2 greens means that it's fully charged, so we're hoping for that pretty soon. Looks like a green and red flashing, it means that there is some sort of temperature problem. It looks like there's Fahrenheit and Celsius indicators there, and then a red flashing means that the battery is dead or there's some sort of major malfunction. So as soon as these show double green, we'll go out and give it a shot. The chute and then the hardware to mount everything comes separate here. And then here is the snowblower itself. Chute will go on there. The handlebars here are attached. And then the control unit is all attached because of the wiring harness there. And so you just take the plastic off and mount that and install it. And then the chute handle to turn it is right under here, kind of stuck in there. So this will go on so that you can rotate your chute. And then the batteries go on up here. Now this little door here has a little tab. You might be able to see it there, but it's hardly really secured. If anything, you know, you can kind of just tap it up. So if you work on kind of really uneven terrain, might be an issue with this kind of flapping up. If it's snowing hard, it does provide some protection, but I've seen covers that really snap down quite a bit more securely. Not a problem because this is obviously sitting down and gravity's going to hold it in place, but just in case that's an issue for you. Now, I also think that this will run on one battery, but you're obviously going to want 2. So the runtime on it is supposed to be 40 minutes. I believe there's a 50 amp version that will run for 50 minutes. I might have that wrong, but if you have a much bigger driveway or lot to clear, you're probably going to want to step up to the large unit. So let's go ahead and finish setting this sucker up and get the batteries charged. All right, so in this parts kit here, you can see we have these bolts with handles on them, and this is going to hold on the upper portion of the steering mechanism. So I'm going to take off the little rubber booties off the bottom here for shipping purposes, and then we will just lift this thing up and slide it on here, and then I will disconnect these and feed these through the holes here. Next, we're going to loosen these 4 wing nuts here on the chute so that we can install that, and then the wing nuts will hold the plastic chute in place. The end, this is going to be the support for the adjustment rod here, and it's going to fit into here like this. Then it's actually going to face up like this, I believe, and then we're going to put the rod through this. So this should be a pretty easy install too. Let's go ahead and put this sucker in. Now we want to just take this crank rod and feed it through the eye loop there and into the receiving end down here, just like this. And there's a little hole in it, which should match up with the hole there. And we have a cotter pin, which we are going to use to secure it together. Now, one of the last things that we want to do is adjust these skid shoes. These kind of hold the auger and this assembly up just a little above the ground. So theoretically, if you're snow blowing dirt or gravel, you won't be scraping that up. It gives you a little bit of play. So I put some cardboard under here, and now I'm going to use the included wrench to adjust these down a little bit, just to give me a little bit of elevation off the ground. All right, so I think I've got almost everything together here. The last thing is you'll have to install the battery and then also the key. So the key, and there is a spare here, looks like a snowblower key, and should just fit in up here, and you turn it to the on position once you have your batteries in. There's also this emergency stop button, and it looks like it's up at the moment, but you do need to twist it. There we go. Pops up, and I think if you hit it, it'll turn everything off. So you twist it clockwise like a quarter turn, and it pops up like that. So you've got a quick hit. Here is your control panel. It's like a clear rubberized material. There's 3 forward speeds, 1, 2, 3. Now I've actually heard that most people can't tell the difference between the forward speeds, so I'll probably be on 3 is my guess. And then here's 1 reverse speed. And then here are the headlights. Now I don't have them on because I haven't had the batteries in, but you do have 2 LED spotlights here that are going to really help you in the winter. They are adjustable, as you can hear there. They click, very nice, really solid detents in there. Not only do they pivot up and down, but they're slightly angled in a little cross-eyed, and that's going to help you kind of focus the light right in front of your path, but then also kind of give you a wider range of angles. And so you can see in there, I suspect that they're pretty big, so they'll probably work like any of the tactical flashlights I've showed you, so that's pretty cool. So in the morning, especially in the winter, it can be very dark out there. So we've got that going for you. You have what looks like just a regular snowblower. You've got your steel augers. You can see the impeller all the way back there. You've got your cleaning and manipulating tool. You never want to stick your hand into a chute or into the augers. This is all steel down here, which kind of gives me a lot of confidence. It's not really until you get back here that you start getting the plastic. Even down here, steel, really nice knobby tires. Quite large. I think it's a 2400 watt brushless DC motor in here. The housing up here and where the batteries go is all plastic. And the chute itself is plastic. I've got it on there. And as you can see, it's a 2-gear system that helps rotate it. And the really cool thing that I like is that the handle is back here so that you can turn and rotate it while I'm standing vertically, and you don't have to come down here where a lot of snowblowers will have an adjustment. Sometimes you'll even have to come down here and adjust it. Now there's also a couple of adjustment screws on both sides here so you can adjust the throw. I might like this to be a little quicker release, but it is what it is. It should work just fine. As you can see, there's a little metal stabilizer bar that helps kind of keep it from shooting back on itself. But I think that's generally about it. Here we have the controls. So on this side we have auger, and what you'll have to do is there's like a safety button here, so you'll have to hit this button and then lift up on the handle, and then when you release the trigger here, that button will come out. So thumb and pull in order to initialize the auger. Now I will say that my hands are medium sized to smallish, and so hitting that button requires me to turn my wrist in a little bit. It's not a big deal. Once you have the button in, it looks like if you just hold the trigger up, it's going to stay there. And on this side you have the drive, and there does not appear to be a safety button over here, so it looks like you can just drive it forward depending on the speed you selected here. So I thought I'd whip out my old reliable Craftsman here and just do a quick comparison. Overall, you know, they're very similar in size. This is a 24-inch, this is a 22-inch. As you can see that the height is a little bit lower, but you know, it's in general packaging terms, they are very, very similar. Obviously, there's a little less going on up here as there is with, you know, motor and a gas tank and all that. Because of the age of mine, you know, the controls up here are very much like old school push mower controls, and then on the Snow Joe, the kind of the more contemporary and common 2-handle push walker type of controls up there. But again, should be quieter, should be easier to maintain, doesn't make any gas internal combustion noise, but it will be relatively loud compared to, you know, similar to a lot of electric tools. This does have built-in lights, which is kind of a nice feature, but overall, you know, from a packaging standpoint, they look about the same and display's about the same size. So as soon as we get those batteries juiced up, we'll go ahead and move some snow. So I did get the batteries charged up, and like I said, it's going to be pretty easy to install them. I probably want to answer the same question that you have. As you can see there, just push them in. That little gray tab is what indicates that it's installed all the way. Push it down there and locks into place. And then to eject it, you're going to have to pull that tab back, but just force it down there until it locks in. The one thing I'm sure you're wondering is, does it work on one battery? Now we'll just see if we can get the auger to work on one battery. And obviously it does not work on one battery. And in fact, nothing is lighting up. In fact, the control panel, and then there's a light down there that I think lights up once the thing is powered up. So let's go ahead and put the second battery in here. And again, it's just going to go in symmetrically. Locks in. Got to kind of force it down. I've noticed there's a spring on the bottom, and you really have to kind of press these things down to make sure that they are locked into place. There we go. That is secured. And now, if I turn this key on to on, you can see here we've got the control panel lit up, as well as I can see an LED light there on the side. And if we go ahead and hit the safety button and then pull up, I can hear the auger going. So that is all great news. Let's go ahead and take a look at the snow that we're about to snowplow through. So it did snow last night, and as you can see, I pulled the cars out, obviously. It was a polar vortex weather, so it was all below freezing, and this is not light, fluffy snow by any means. It's actually very, it's relatively loose, but it's like a, kind of like an ice crystal, or like kind of an ice slushy type of consistency. So if I just throw in the tape measure here to find out exactly how much snow fell, it's just a little under 2 inches, which is what the Weather Service also confirmed. Now, again, I've packed it down in some areas here. I've got a pretty big driveway that I'm gonna have to plow through. So let's give it a shot and see if it works. So hopefully my little head mount rig here is working. And as we go ahead and just push it out here, I'm gonna just set it for the first speed. When you hit the button here, it turns green. Everything else turns stays red. That's the headlight button, and I'm just going to leave that off since it's not dark out right now. I'm going to turn the auger, the chute here, and then let's go ahead and we'll start in the middle, and we'll kind of come back. So safety switch. And the first thing I can tell you there is you're going to want to tighten down your chute. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, safety. Fire up the auger. Seems to be chewing it up pretty good. Now, other than the noise of the snow being chopped up here, you really don't have much snowblower noise because of the electric nature of it. And as you can see there, it seems to be throwing it pretty nicely. Now, I will tell you on that first speed, it seems to be pretty slow, so I'm going to move it up here to number 2. Let's try this. Choking a little bit where, in terms of smoothness, where I'm compacted the snow with my car this morning, but I'm just gonna stop it there. Seems to work pretty darn well. I'm pretty impressed. Wanted to show you here is that this is where an area where snow has really accumulated and gotten pretty deep. Now it's going to be a little hard because of how I'm shooting it, but this Mojo has no problems pushing right through this like this. Now you got to make note in this video, I am pushing this with one hand because I can't get my other hand on the drive mechanism because I'm holding the camera with my other hand. But zero problems going through what is really deep snow here. And I wanted to stop and tape that because I was using it with the drive mechanism and it was working really, really well. So just wanted to show you the deep snow, no problems. Over 2 inches, no problem. Checking it out, man. My electric Snow Joe snowblower. Definitely really happy with it at the moment. We'll try it on deeper snow as the weather continues to roll in on us this winter, but overall, I like it. Peter von Panda. Out.